Scot Little Bihlman is an Emmy-winning multi-instrumentalist and songwriter, best known as the drummer vocalist of Grinder Blues with Doug Pinnick of King's X, and for a career collaborating with icons like John Fogerty, Buddy Guy, Trey Anastasio, and Jelly Roll, just to name a few. In 2025, he's launched a new chapter under Little Bihlman, releasing a run of singles on V13 Music, Fade Away, A Loaded Gun and a Wedding Ring, and Heavy Head, that lean into grit, reflection, and hard-earned resilience. It's my distinct pleasure to welcome you on to Make Break today. Thanks very much for coming on the show, Little.
It is my pleasure, sir.
Thank you so much for being here. And we're super transparent here. We're just going to make it known right off the hop. No airs and graces, no baloney. We know each other. We work together. Okay.
Right.
I did say you released those tracks on V13 Music. That's one of our imprints. And my friend, it has been already such a pleasure working with you, but I have been itching to get you on the show to talk about more about the creative process. Now, what's funny is I'm already coming into this with a little bit more knowledge, but I want to make sure that I get this right in terms of where you come from and your origins. I mean, your highlight reel is pretty staggering. How many, let's start here, just as a little flex for you. How many Emmys have you won exactly?
We cranked out four Emmys, man. And
God damn.
Yeah, a process of, it's all very luck oriented. It starts off with anything else, man. You get asked to do a project or your music gets into something, and it's all about the production team or like that, but it's actually the process of, as much as I would love to sit here and say, man, we're just so great, I'm so great. Now, a lot of it's luck. I mean, the music's got to be cool. It's got to fit the production, and then it gets into the right, formats, movies and TV, all this kind of stuff, and it goes, and then you get, hey man, it's really picked up traction, that's cool, and then you get nominated, like holy shit, and then you get to go to the awards and you get a tuxedo, you go and you get the trophy, man. So I mean, I wish I could spin it a little more, but that's it, and incredibly grateful for that. I'm very proud of it.
Well, it's acknowledging the great unknown of creating, right? That you can. I think the conversation we keep on hearing, keep on having with everybody over and over again is just be true to who you are. I mean, I know that if you don't know who you are, then obviously that's terrible advice, but no matter what, you're going to have a very specific skew, a very specific persona or angle at what you do. And to that end, I wanted to actually ask you, we do this thing where we take inspiration from our heroes, like any good creative, we grow up imitating them. And then that's how we learn the chops, and that's how we get through it. So for a writer like me, I do it by imitation. And then we have this really cool moment where you kind of leap off and get your own voice, that's the moment that we're all fighting for. So I wonder, when did your voice stop sounding like your heroes and start sounding like you?
Well, to your point, it's a lot of it is repetitions of another man's genius. To a certain extent, you get into it because something resonates inside your soul that is just this is what I want to do, and I want to just get more into this and that feeling, and you're constantly chasing that. And I think an artist can chase that to their grave, to tell you the truth, and it's a beautiful chase, man. I mean, it's just I want to give back what these songs did for me. And it's the blues. I mean, it's a 1-4-5 structure that goes back and back and back and back. And I mean, God rest Stevie Ray Vaughan, man. Love Stevie Ray Vaughan and stuff. But he actually made a really good comment one time. They said he sounded a lot like Albert King, I think it was. And he said, man, I'm not ripping anything off. I'm giving it back. And you can put Stevie up against Hendrix and things like that and stuff. And his renditions of Voodoo Child and stuff like that are phenomenal. And he actually, I think, took it to another level than Hendrix and things like that. So not to pivot too far off the question. You do it, and you try to be like these guys, but no one can be like these guys. No one can be a Hendrix. No one can be a Springsteen. No one can be anybody. And then what happens is that it marinates into what you're doing and comes out this thing. And that thing might be taking it a step further or whatever. But I've always gravitated towards the heartland I come from a hard rock background, blues background. I mean, I've done all this stuff, even the gangster rap thing with Jelly and all that kind of stuff, things like this. But I've always gravitated towards singer-songwriter, the outlaw country thing. I love Rush. I love Nine Inch Nails. I love all that. And I don't know, man, it just comes out. So I like to think I have my own voice, and it's a signature that is original and authentic. And that's what you go for. But it really comes out of the meat grinder, of like, hey, well, this is what it is. I've gone in and recorded songs where like, man, I want to have this vision. It's got to be this. And it could be a Pink Floyd thing or that kind of thing. But, at the end of the day, man, it's my version of it. And I'll never be David Gilmour, Roger Waters, those guys, in the regards of like mimicking them. I have done everything, man, from arenas to the White House to honky tonks to little kid parties and stuff. And the thing is that you just live your career and you do what you do. And, when it's going right, you're doing what you love to do and you don't even work for a living. It still amazes me when I get paid for what I do. It's like, man, that was, the energy that goes into it and everything is real. I mean, you're dumping it out there. You are giving it all you got, but it is such a passionate road to be on. It's really great. And hopefully you got your own voice. And reason I brought up what I've done in the past, things like this, I've really tried to steer away from the only thing I really try to steer away from, man. It's not what do you call it? It's the cover band thing, but it's where you're literally mimicking like a Bon Jovi thing or something, it's what do you call that? That's those bands are
tribute band.
Yeah, tribute bands. That's the one thing that's where I draw the line. It's kind of like, man, the one thing I'm not going to do is a tribute thing. And I mean, these are great players. Hell, I just in Vegas saw a System of a Down and Metallica band. It literally sounded better than those two bands.
Whoa.
But
wow.
I'm not, if I get hired as a hired gun, I learn the parts, off the record and do it. And you try to do that thing. But man, to dress like somebody else and do that whole thing is the only thing that does turn me off in the business, because I think that if you are going to contribute, you want to be an artist that is original and stuff like that. So I don't know if I've pivoted so far off the question, but that's how I look at it.
Nah. That's cool, man. This isn't like a laundry list. This is a conversation, at the end of the day. And that's what I've always appreciated about you, is being able to talk with you about, I don't know, you've got a way about you for what it's worth. And every time I've spoken with you, like, I feel like you are somebody that who just knows a little too much to be inauthentic. You know what I mean? Like I've always appreciated that about yourself, even while being in arguably, I think, one of the most inauthentic places on earth. And it's not Vegas I'm talking about. I'm talking about LA. Now, I shit on LA every now and then, but I mean it all in good fun. I do think that this is like one of the cultural capitals of the world, but I do think that there's an overarching sense that people are having to play a part at all times because everybody's scrounging and looking for things. But I don't know, there's people like yourself where, I don't know, it hasn't polluted your well. It has not poisoned your well. I don't know, how do you rub shoulders with people like this all the time? And I've seen like some of the pictures you've had with different personalities and celebrities and luminaries in the industry. Like, you've got a pretty wild guess who of people like I've seen on your Instagram in the past, and like anyone from, Dennis Quaid and Mark Wahlberg to like you've been working with, it was Nicolas Cage you were working with most recently on Spider-Man. Can I say which one you're working on?
Yeah.
Or maybe I should be.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man Noir coming out 2026, which, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it's...
Sorry, I want to make sure that I wasn't putting you in it. My bad. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, but then now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to talk about that.
Yeah, I see the other actors putting up some stuff that's coming out and stuff. And cool. I've got some really cool video like backstage and in my dressing room and all that kind of stuff. And it's cool. I haven't posted any stuff like that yet, but I've been doing this a long time, man. And early in my career, especially cutting my teeth with the blues cats and stuff like that, the blues legends, man. And like I say, I got to go all over the world, do really cool things. And the people that would sit in with us, were amazing. And I mean,
Can you mention some names for anyone who's listening that doesn't know everything
yeah,
about you just yet?
Clapton, Jimmy Page,
Holy shit! Right off the bat.
really, that I didn't really like. Didn't think it was that big of a deal. Now you got to understand, I was really young, and but I was playing at Buddy Guy's Legends in Chicago, the original spot, and I think it was with Coco Taylor. But then Little Richard came up. Little Richard came up. He sat in, and we jammed a couple tunes and stuff. And I was like, oh, it's Little Richard stuff. And then later, when I got to work, and he's like family now, Doug Pinnick. He's a big Little Richard fan, and a lot of people are. Like, it's amazing how the impact. I mean, he even had impact on the Beatles and stuff like that. But as a young kid, you're like, oh wow, Little Richard, things like that. But man, I mean, I really appreciate you acknowledging, that I just have never been starstruck. I just have never been. I can cut right through the bullshit with somebody. I don't care like who they are, and if they've had a impact, like I got to hang out with Rush, and that did have a massive impact on me. I mean, I fucking worship Rush, man, and I was a bit like, holy crap, and I had like 4 hours. I mean, we went from talking from Hemispheres to 2112 to Signals to Moving Pictures and then it was like 4 hours later. So what'd you have? You like hot dogs? You like hamburgers? I mean, it was just, and those guys, sweethearts, man. Fucking sweethearts. I've been really let down by some people that I've met and stuff like that, but you can shoot through the bullshit in 15 seconds. I mean, there's people out there that are like, all they do is talk about themselves. And then when they're done talking, they go, so what do you think of me?
Wow.
It's this ongoing thing of their pretentiousness to the human condition.
Me.
And, yeah, on everything. So, it's been cool. I've got to work with a lot of great people. And I got to say, the first record deal my brother and I got, our producer was Jim Gaines, he's 12-time Grammy Award-winner, man. I mean, he's worked with Journey and Santana and Stevie Ray Vaughan and all this, and he produced our first 2 records, actually. And that first day coming in, I was more intimidated about, and this guy's worked with Steve Smith, and all these incredible songwriters and drummers and everything. And Jim was awesome, man. He was awesome. He was an authentic, amazing human that was taking, his time to work with these 2 white boys from Michigan, actually, at that point. And, it's cool. I'm not going to drop names of who I've hung out with that don't have that, but it's surprising and disappointing. It's like, wow, man, I've really liked this artist for a really long time. And I'm talking movie stars, some rock stars, and like that. It's just like, wow, that was disappointing. But I'll still listen to the records, but it doesn't hurt my feelings that we don't have each other on speed dial. It's like, I've already
well said.
Conversation.
Yeah, that's got to be rough when you're like, all you're doing is just keeping on feeding the like narcissistic wound that is their existence. You know what I mean? Like, just a gaping void of ego.
Yeah, and to your point, see, here's the thing, man. I did the Nashville thing, and listen, I really think that you do this for so long, you've got to start looking at quality of life. And Nashville is a cool place to go and record and play some shows and hang out for a week. But it's really not I have changed my life where, as you know, I'm a big motorcycle enthusiast. I love living in LA. I love the ocean, man. I love the weather. I like the whole vibe out here. And it's not a knock against anybody from Chicago to Nashville to New York or anything like that. You just pick. And I got to say, to artists out there and things like that, don't have this tunnel vision to the point where you sacrifice and you're living someplace you don't want to live. And I'm not hobnobbing every night with movie stars and rock stars, man. I mean, I've got this thing where I can wake up, go ride my motorcycle. I can go down there. I know all the great restaurants and the weather's always great and things like that. And in Nashville, I mean, you got wildlife when you ride your motorcycle. You got a lot of humidity, snakes, spiders and stuff, and I don't, that stuff doesn't bum me out that much, and then you start from there, You start from there, like, okay, I can create here, I can live here, stuff like this. But I will say, I get sucked into some of these Hollywood parties that do make me fucking nauseous. I mean, it's like, I've been here half an hour, sounds great, man. Everybody's cool. I'll split. Or you'll find me out. I like cigars. I like to smoke my pipe and stuff. I'll be out there in that crowd. And then you kind of find your crowd with that and you talk and do that kind of stuff and strike up good conversations. So you kind of find your pocket of people that work. But it is sad to see these artists, especially on the acting side of things, that are getting older, that are starting to just chop their face up, and everything is about, conversations are, well, who's your Botox guy? Well, who's this guy? And the whole conversation is like this vanity of mutilating your body. So it's that whole thing.
Yikes.
So yeah, but yeah, LA is Tinseltown, man. It's getting better. I mean, I think the people authentically are coming around, and honestly, I think Nashville's really helped that. You can be a bit overweight and very gray and all that kind of stuff, and still be knocking out records and things like that. And it's not this whole thing where you got to look like Elvis Presley, and stuff like this. So, that's cool. I like I say, it doesn't matter where you live. It's the authenticity that you find in the circles that you gravitate towards.
It's finding your tribe in a way. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that an artist needs to do initially, right? This is why we have scenes. This is why we have communities. This is why we have entire cities worth of ecosystems of venues and artists and all the whole thing around all of that as well. All the hangers-on and the opportunists, but also all the people that make it all possible as well. I think that's exactly it, is you got to find your people. And I think I want to talk to you about you finding your people, but I kind of want to talk more about like finding you. Sorry to say it in the most pretentious way possible, but I mean, I think of you riding your bike out I've seen you cover some distance, and you've been out there in the desert. You were just recently went to Joshua Tree. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
So when you are in that place, like not just Joshua Tree, I mean, like you're out on the open road.
Mm-hmm.
Where does your mind tend to go to? I mean, do you have a specific feeling that is similar to the creative process? I know that I'm trying to lead the witness here a little bit, but I can't help but think that it's maybe the same thing.
Well, I will tell you this. It's a real thing when they talk about biker zen, it's a real thing. It is where, and the reason that is, and it's kind of like, my main instrument is drums, and I, play guitar, sing, and everything like that. But I mean, when you got to hold a groove, man, you can't speed up or slow down. And you can't be thinking about the pre-chorus before the chorus and all that. You got to stay in the verse, and you got to take it step by step, like step. And when you're riding a motorcycle, it puts you in that same vein, man. You got to be in the now. The drumming takes you in the now. The riding the motorcycle takes you in the now. You can, man, I mean, I can be doing a guitar singing gig and all that and kind of be a little loosey-goosey. The drummer's holding it down, that whole thing like that. But when I'm on the kit or I'm on the motorcycle, you got to be in the now. And I tell some of my students that when they speed up and slow down, it's like, you're fucking not in the now. You're thinking about this. You're thinking about the fill you're going to play before, coming out of the chorus or something. And so through meditation and Zen and things like that is that your thoughts are like clouds. They're literally like clouds. You can't get hooked into everything. And even Winston Churchill, I think it was Winston Churchill, said you can't throw a stone at every barking dog. And when you're on a motorcycle, man, you're going to get killed. I mean, if you're not fucking paying attention, you're going to get killed. You're going to go through a yellow light. There's going to be some moron that gets it, or you could be the moron. So once you get all those components happening, and, I'm thinking about my daughter, I'm thinking about bills, I'm thinking about, did I take the garbage out? Did I leave the coffee pot on? I mean, it's just, your brain goes nuts.
Yeah.
But you just let them go, and that's when a creative process, when I can get my brain, the monkey mind, then the soul kicks in. And that's where the creativity is. Yeah, I would say that 90% of everything I do comes from that. Lyrics, guitar riffs, where I want to go, creative. How come I can't say that?
Creativity.
Yeah, and it opens up, for me, it opens that portal. And then I come home and I start putting it all together. And then I can, the last 10%, I sit in a chair and I kind of just work it out. And then you start, thinking what guitar tones you want to use, what's the production you want to use, like that. And then you go there. But getting back to, I do pivot off these questions all the time. I apologize. Getting back, I think the original question was what? The authenticity of the creative process. And to me, that starts with letting the monkey, it's like, the ego and the monkey brain, stuff like that. It's like giving a little kid some keys. Oh my God, these keys. And then you let them go in the corner and play with these keys. And once you do, and you can rest your mind in that regard, the soul kicks in, and that's where, we're artists, man. We're going to do it till we die. I haven't really ever tried to get out of the entertainment business, but the entertainment business is what it is, but it's the creative process. You could put me, on a desert island with a guitar, and I'll make a drum. I'll make it, I'll tune the guitar and go, and I'll be doing it for myself, honestly. And if you're not in the business because of that, you got trouble. If you're only in it for the money and you're only in it for this or that, yes, we all know money is important, and it is the music business. But you got to know that if you don't hit it and you're a million years old sitting somewhere, you're still gonna, if I don't play guitar, I'll fucking die. I would I like to be doing it in the arena? Yeah, man. But if I'm doing it in my room, something like that, I will have to do that. Or you have to write. You have to do it. And so that's just what it is. And when you talk to people or whatever, and they're only on, if you will, the land of the 10,000 things, which is, if you don't, I think you get it, but if some people don't get that, it's the Tao Te Ching, and it's the Lao Tzu thing on, you have the Zen and the soul of where you want to be, and that's your authenticity. But the 10,000 things are, how are records going? How many people like me on Instagram? Do I have enough followers? Do I have this? Do I have that shit? And it sucks all the joy out of it. And you gotta keep the fucking joy. I had a great conversation with, man, I'd be so insulted if he, this fantastic actor. I love him, and everything. And I met him I was playing Sundance, met him up there, and we were talking. It'll come to me in a second. And man, he was he's so successful. And he's like, it's the joy. You can't let this business suck your joy out of why you do this. And that is it. And it's keeping that frequency. The one thing I can tell you about Jelly Roll is he kept that frequency, man. And, he had this frequency. He was getting popular and things like that and stuff like this, but he kept himself on this frequency that I think that, if you want to talk about law of attraction or anything like that, that is a thing. If you live in joy, you will attract good things. But if you live in, the whole lack and that whole thing, and it's hard, man, it's hard. People have a hard time wrapping their head around that and things like this. But, as zen as I am, I enjoy a good cocktail hour. I like things. I put myself in this thing where it's, man, life is fucking great. Life is good. We're all walking home. And, but I've found that, the living in joy thing, you can't let this business take your joy away. And what will take that away from you is the business side of it, to the point of, you got to run a tight ship, if you will. But if that's all you do, it'll be the Titanic, man. You're going to run that fucker right into a big old ice cube.
Well, that's a good point. And I think that I would ask, was there a make or break moment in your career when you almost walked away from music?
Many times.
Fair enough.
Enough. It wasn't that I would walk away from music, but getting out of the business. The crazy thing about the business is that the more you do, the more people expect. And there's pressures with that. It's like, wow, you guys my band, we got to go on the road with ZZ Top, and then it was Ted Nugent. We did a whole arena thing with those guys, major festivals, all that kind of stuff. And you come home and it's like, okay, what's the next thing? That was cool. What's the next thing? You win an Emmy. What's the next thing? You're going to win another Emmy? You're going to do this? And it's this fucking pressure that it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I don't know. I mean, I got to up my, and once you understand how you don't have, it's very paradoxical. By the more you let go, the more you're letting in. And the more you're grasping for things, you won't get them. I'm telling you, your doorway of all the great things coming in will become a little tiny hole like that, because it's this whole frequency and things and stuff like that. So yeah, it's taken me a long time to get where I'm at. I'm very happy. And I've been through the hard knocks, man. I mean, it has not been a bit, this constant road. You get a record deal and you're thinking, this is it, man. And then right away, it's like, hey, man, is the single tracking? Are you doing this? We invested this. The money starts to come in, and then they hack it all up, and this big giant pizza becomes a little pepperoni,
Mm-hmm.
and the constant pressures of that. And then you get some serious miles and years under your belt, and you're like, fuck, man, I think I'm getting out. Or you just don't like the pressure anymore. And then you're having relationship problems. It's like, I'm gone, I'm gone, people are gone, you're gone all the time, you're trying to do this, and then I have a beautiful daughter, love her so much, it's incredible. But it's been a serious dynamic with that whole situation I won't get into. And you start to think, the business, is it worth it? And then it is. I mean, you go play shows and people come around and man, we haven't seen you in a while. Is that? I love the new song. I love all this and everything. And it doesn't stroke your ego. It does in that regard, but it also is your contribution to humanity.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what, as authentic as I can possibly be, that is what gets me off in this business, man. It is connecting with people, mostly live, like podcasts and Instagram and all stuff. I mean, it's cool, but I mean, when you can shake somebody's hand or give them a hug, you're connecting with them, and you've done something that they dig. It is fucking priceless. You can't put a price tag on it. So, yeah, but back to your original question. I can play guitar today and be very happy. And I've thought about getting out of this business a lot, and I'm glad I didn't. It's a fucking tough business. If you ask me, it's the toughest business by far in the world. I mean, there's just so many moving parts. It's like a pocket watch, man, to this business. And you can fall to drugs. You can fall to, so many things. I've had so many friends. I've had suicide, bunch of suicide, druggies. That these guys were clean, and 10 years later, you run into them and they're a fucking wreck, and they can't keep everything together and things like that. And you can. I'm not going to make we could do a whole podcast on what Zen has done for me, but it's fantastic. And thank God, I think I was a heavy athlete when I was younger and things like that. And I think that's why I never gravitated towards any hard drugs. And I've been around a lot of hard drugs, man, a lot. And I've just it just wasn't my thing. But then you get people that they fall to it, and I've seen them fall hard, and I've seen them fall to literally their death on it. So, but yeah, it's a tough business. It's a tough business. I'm thinking in my next life and reincarnation, I come back and I'm really passionate about lawn furniture. It's like, hey, baby, have you seen the new 2040 lawn chairs? It's amazing, man. I'm selling lawn for it. I would probably be happy. You follow your passion.
That'd be good. Whatever you're passionate about, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess that's that question of like, what was there like a make or break moment in your career when you almost walked away from music? And the second part to that is usually like what pulled you back in. But is it fair to say that it was discovering Zen? Is it as clean as that, or not really?
No, Zen, what happened with it is you get a call, and it's, hey, I think it's a record deal. It's this manager. It's this thing. And you're thinking to yourself, well, I guess I could go explore that. I think it was a Godfather thing or something. It's like, soon as I was out, they sucked me back in, and that's always literally, that's been it. It's like, I'm fucking out, man. And then, really? Well, what do you mean? who's involved? Oh, that sounds well. And then it starts snowballing from there. And
Interesting.
and also because I'm good enough, I think that everybody, whether you're a songwriter or whatever, you got to be very proficient on a certain instrument. It's like I'm a technician. I mean, I can go do sessions. I can stay on click tracks. I can read, on drums and things. No one's going to call me up for like, Eddie Van Halen, solo thing. It ain't me. But on drums, I can pretty much hang with whoever. And that's another thing, the Sideman thing. I'll get a call from a major star or something, and you get to go do that. And you're like, well, that's cool. And it is cool. You don't have to worry about bookings. You don't have to worry about hotels. You don't have to worry about transportation. It's catered this. There's a per diem and shit. And that'll suck you back in.
Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you this. I've gone off tour buses where I'm getting in my 2006 Jeep Wrangler and the star's going home in a Rolls Royce, man. And you really start to look at it like, yeah, definitely the Sideman. I mean, we were all, that whole thing. And, it's just a rough business, but yeah, that's what's happened to me personally is that it's like you're drowning and then right at the last second, somebody throws you a dinghy and you're back in, instead of just letting yourself totally drown out of this business like that. Somebody throws you a dinghy and it takes me back in. And then I get to go on this big, giant, beautiful yacht ship and then it sinks. And then it sinks, baby. And now you're back with a dinghy. You're back, doing that. Oh
man.
Yeah, that's how it's gone for me.
I'm just coming back to like, just, you're not, I don't know. There's a lot of bullshit in this business. Music in particular. I thought it was actors and theater and drama and whatnot that was the really filled with bullshit side of things. I always had this idea that music was the more honest one, but I'll be goddamned if I have not had that notion challenged every day of my life for the past 3.5 years. Tell you what, like being in music journalism is one thing. That's like 10 years of that is whatever. No sweat. But when you actually have to like get into the actual behind the scenes of things and work with artists and labels and management and publicity and PR and just the movers and shakers behind the scenes, my God. And why I say all this? Because it's refreshing. You and I can just shoot the shit and actually be straight up and real with one another. You're not angling for something. I mean, if anything, like what you just mentioned, like we're being like working a musician for others, being the Sideman, that prompts a question for me, which is, how do you balance that? I mean, you have your own music, your own aspirations. You've got a phenomenal record here. Like, this is why we completely changed our entire, we recalibrated our entire ecosystem just to make sure that this has, I mean, it was already in the cards. It's just that we fast tracked things, but we did that because what we see here is so vivid and it really is a vision. I remember the first time I listened to it, bearing in mind I had listened to your previous catalog, and I'm not just glazing here. I promise. Like that is not who I am anymore. Maybe I was once upon a time, but I remember walking from, I think I had just dropped my kid off and was walking back and had my headphones on, and I was finally got a chance to like listen. And a movie played out in my mind the whole time. And it was like vignettes of like, obviously there's you on a motorcycle, but there's also like a person walking in the desert. And it's like, images from movies like Once Upon a Time in Mexico and Desperado and a bunch of different Westerns, But it's also, at the end of it, there's, the most prevalent images looking into the abyss. And I got this sense from yourself. And when I spoke to you about it, when I actually spoke to you about this, I remember you saying like, yeah, that's it. I mean, because I said like, you strike me as a person that has looked into the open gaping maw of the great unknown, the great abyss, and looked at it and come away from it unscathed, but with a greater understanding of that there is this thing that exists that is so unknowable and daunting, and yet you're able to keep your sanity somehow. And I mean, I credit you, you've credited Zen with that. I guess for me, I really am getting to the question now, apologies, but like, how have you managed to negotiate that up until this point? I know you're pursuing the album, like in earnest, and you have put out one other solo album in the last few years, but like this one's, I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway, because fuck it. I mean, it's up for consideration for a Grammy. Okay. So.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, it's incredibly grateful to, put our, and when I say our, I mean, it's throwing the, my name in the hat, but with that name, it's V13. It's Miles Fullwider. It's Ron Meyer. I mean, it's all the people that are, been involved with that. And, man, I mean, wouldn't that be incredible? I mean, to pull, something like that off and things like that. And I gotta honestly tell you, I'm not trying to be like crazy humble here or stuff like this. I mean, I've got the Emmys and things like that and stuff. I really like when a team pulls together and we all win.
100% agreed.
Yeah.
100%. And I guess, yeah, that actually, it does give me an excuse to talk about you working with Miles. You guys have collaborated before in the past, is that right?
Yeah, he did the Grinder Blues stuff.
Yeah, man.
And Grinder Blues, man, I mean, here's what I'll tell you. Artists will take any record deal they possibly can get, honestly. It's so fucking hard to get deals. And most projects I got into has been this weird thing where you're just on the wrong label. And my last record, Hipster Billings, man, I mean, I signed with a metal label. Well, they did metal. And Mike Varney, who owned Travel Records, and I tell you, he's one of the greatest humans I've ever met. He's amazing human. And he's done a lot for my career and stuff like that. But he even said, this label's really digging this record, man. They want to put it out and thinking about pivoting and all that kind of stuff. And in the end, it's about relationships and things like that. And I'm telling you, I got a lot of good press on it. I actually got a lot of great reviews on that record. But I was up like, it's like a goat with lightning eyeballs and a robot coming in to get you. And then there's, my record. And I was getting written up in like metal magazines they were very gracious, like that. I only got one bad review was, this record is really great. It's very sleepy. If you're going to bed, this is the one you want to listen to, and stuff like that,
Oh boy.
And then you sign with a label that's too big. Grinder Blues signed with Megaforce Records, and Missy, she signed us. We have a fucking badass video. Grinder, Burn the Bridge. It's really great. It's like that. But put enough into us, to break the band, and things like that. Oh, I forget what the question was, but
that's cool. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's interesting because so like, I guess what I was asking originally, because I do the same thing. I'm always all over the place. But I remember that we were talking about shit. Now, see, I've forgotten as well. God damn. How do you negotiate the like being like a gun for hire versus being your own lone wolf? I mean, like pursuing it. You can't do both, right?
Well, all right. Here's a slippery slope. The one thing you don't want to do if you're a sideman is bring your project into the fucking mix, man. Because these people, if you're backing this artist, that's what it is. You don't want to be backstage, talking too much about your project. And I got a record out. You surely don't want to do that if it's like interviews and stuff like that. So you really want to respect the artist you're dealing with in that regard. The other thing is that this is a fucking hustle. This is like you're pushing your business. And if you're a popsicle stand at this point, on the streets of popsicles and lemonade and stuff, but this guy is Walmart. It's, the transportation is better. The hotels are better, man. The food is better, and there isn't all this pressure on you. You got to perform. I mean, you got to, execute. But it's a breather. and it is good for your resume, and it is good for everything like that. But you negotiate it like and these tours, the more successful the artist is, they don't work that much. You'll go out on a summer tour and then you'll come back, and then that's fucking probably about it until, hopefully they call you next summer or they don't, because they got a lot of money and things like that. So you can look at it as kind of as a vacation. And that's what I did. I mean, I'm sitting by I'm at the Ritz-Carlton down by the pool having a cocktail, man. And it's like,
Right.
or back at my lemonade stand, So if you just do your job, you smile, you execute, you take all the perks and stuff like that and things. And the money is, I've worked for massive stars and not gotten paid that much. People said, geez, that's all you're making on this gig or whatever like that. And it's like, yeah, well, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be working. I really dig my, hotel room, man. It's all decked out. And what time is dinner? You got to be careful. You got some people, setting up your shit and tearing it down. So, so I negotiated fine. And then, but I will tell you this, and I've been down this road before, usually with a blues artist or something that you've already ran all over Europe and everything like that and stuff. You kicked off, you've done it for months, if not a year. And then it starts to bring you back. Your soul starts to be like, hey, man, I got to get back to my thing. I got to get back because I want to be you. I want to be that star.
Right. Yeah.
And it's smart business. You can sideman yourself into, I know a lot of sidemen that have played with bands for 20 years. They're not hurting financially. They're not rolling like the star, but they're doing okay. They're doing their good stuff. But honestly, they're not serious songwriters. They're not like real serious songwriters, you birth these mental children. And they need to be birthed. And I come by the bass player's hotel room, knock on the door, hey man, you want to go down to the bar or you want to go get something to eat? They're just doing scales. They're just doing scales to keep their chops up. So, and that kind of thing. And songwriters are in their room writing songs. Like I write songs. People can say, oh man, Scott, great drum. Yeah, I lay my own drum tracks down. I play my own guitars. That's where I'm at. I'm not out to be, Bumblefoot or Yngwie Malmsteen or these people that are just, I don't give a shit about that. I did when I was younger, worked up those chops to that point. But I mean, man, you get on YouTube and you're humbled in 1 minute. You were humbled. So I can go 10. I can go through 10 geeky drummers that have never done anything in their career in their basement that blow my doors off. It's like, why do I even do this? And I don't want to do it. Honestly, I want to write songs. I've always been a songwriter. I remember Jim Gaines one time told me, I said something about drums. He's like, you're not a drummer, man. You're a songwriter. And that really meant a lot to me. I was like, holy shit, really? It's like, yeah, you're a songwriter, man. These are your songs. You're a songwriter. And
Wow.
and that meant a lot to me. And I think that to be a great technician is phenomenal. Like I have done massive things with orchestras where I back the artist and the whole orchestra behind them and stuff like this. And I have literally been backstage playing some guitar stuff and doing this just on the side. And I'm like, I look at the violinist and I'm like, solo, man, go. And they look at you like deer in the headlights, like, a what? Go. Where's the music? I have to read a solo or I have to do this. They can't do that. And it's always boggled my mind. And I'm like, how incredible of a technician you are, but you don't know how to solo. Like you can't improvise. So no right or wrong. I mean, these Tiffany guys and these snare drum guys and stuff. And yeah, I mean, they're doing, the violinist doing everything from Paganini to whatever. These guys are reading this, music going nuts. And I just, but look at the Stones, man. We love the songs. We fucking love the songs. Yep. At the end of the day, it's about the songs.
Yep.
I'm not
it is. And I'd argue
modern drummer thing.
Which is actually a good point, though, because like, what's really interesting hearing you say that, what's really interesting about hearing you say that, is that you have literally like written books and like educational books on the subject, for God's sake. Like, you do know the tech behind it. Like, you do know the theory, and you've even taught it. Like, I mean, that's fair to say, right?
Oh yeah, no, I've done clinics, man. I've done clinics. I mean, I have, my book is right over there, man. It's a flagship book on Alfred Publishing on how to play everything from the basics to very technical odd meter and double bass and shuffles.
Please stand by. Technical difficulties. Wait, so where were we?
Yeah.
Nah, we're cool. I'll have just a little, you know what I'll do is I'll ask you to make a little bit of music, little something to like say, but technical difficulties. Be right back in a sec.
Yeah.
Before I lost you there for a sec, obviously that was the Grammys calling to say that they would love for you to just host the whole damn thing.
Get your tuxedo going.
I forget the question I had asked prior, and it's killing me because it was a good one. You were just, oh yes, you wrote the fucking book, man, on teaching. And I like that you had this whole angle on like, you know, virtuoso playing. That's cool technically, but like that isn't necessarily a song. Do you know what I mean? And I fully agree. So you were saying like, you know, this is why we gravitate to bands like the Stones, or I'll add some of my own, you know?
Yeah, I took the Stones off the top of the thing.
Yeah. And that's just it. It's like, you're right, 100% right. And so I think there was something that was occurring to me at the time, and I don't know what you'd make of it, but if you're a vessel, a very sturdy, very reliable one, but you're just a vessel and you don't have any of your own thing to fill it, so to speak. You know, I think that's kind of what it feels like to me, and I've always felt that way. That said, you can gain a lot of input from helping others do their thing.
Well, yes, and let me reiterate a little bit or expand what I was saying. You can be as passionate about the instrument as you are about writing songs, and that's fantastic, man. I mean, there are people that just love the instrument and they go, and they're incredible technicians and players and things like that. I'm only saying, to me, and this is only me, is that serves a purpose to write a song.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, maybe there are guitar players somewhere going like, "Oh man, that brr, brr, brr." But it's just, this is, our interview, and it's my interview and the way that I am answering it. And I'm not saying that to be a virtuoso on guitar, you're not a musician, or you're not even a songwriter. You might come up with something that is whatever. But to me, it's serving humanity, I guess you would say. I want to write songs that touch people. And I'm not saying that there's not incredible instrumentalists out there that don't do that. I'm just saying, for me, I'm not looking to be, I want to stay at the level of a musician, my musicianship, I'm still a really good player, but I'm not going to be sitting around doing YouTube licks all day long and stuff like that, and think that it's why I got into the music business, or why I became a songwriter. So, I think that Dave Grohl has a grip on it for sure. Writes great songs, and he's a good drummer. Phil Collins, man, incredible drummer. Also was very proficient on piano and things like that and stuff. And it's that whole deal. Is Phil Collins, who I think, it's funny. I was always going to do a debate, one time. I mean, Dave Grohl's good, but Phil Collins is the shit. I mean, come on. But anyways.
It's funny though. Can I stop you there? Because I have to say, I actually this is going to be controversial, too fucking bad. For anyone who's listening, guess what? I land on the side of Phil Collins as well. There, I said it. Okay? I said it.
But
I got two ears and a heart, don't I?
I think that if I've met Dave a few times, and he's a pretty humble dude. He's cool. He might even say the same thing. He might say, I'm going to Phil.
He might.
Knowing him, yeah, Phil Collins, because, and not only that, not to spin this into a drum thing, but Phil even had his own drum sound. Like you could hear a song on the radio and go like, fuck, that's Phil Collins, because he had his own sound. And Dave never had his own sound. It's a 22-inch kick, 10, 12, 14, whatever. He never had his own sound. And there are so many drummers out there that just don't. But Phil Collins had his own sound. You knew what his toms sounded like, man. And, his kick and snare and everything, but his toms really separated the thing. But, my point of this is that there are a billion better drummers on YouTube right now than me, than Dave Grohl, and Phil Collins. And I think that is a wasted journey for me, man. I have a better shot at anything in this industry as writing songs that people dig. But I'm not taking anything away from a person that is an incredible technician, a virtuoso that can play their instrument incredibly. And I mean, there have been people, instrumentalists, that brought people to tears. They played so great. And hey, man, what was that one song? He was a Native American who wrote that one song. It was an instrumental that they literally pulled off the radio because when people heard it, it made them so like, holy shit, and they freaked out about it. They actually made a documentary of it.
It's funny, my mind went to that rock and roll instrumental, but that is not what you're talking about. This was like, God, it's going to bug me, so I'm going to pull it up.
Yeah. He was a Native American, and he had an instrumental that, it was like a 335 tone or whatever, very ghostly and stuff like this. But
is it Rumble by Link Wray?
Is exactly that. You're so good.
That's funny, because that was where my mind went. But what's funny is I had no idea. Wait, so you're saying he's Native American? I had no clue.
I think he's Native American.
What?
I think he's Native American. I watched a documentary on it, and it was an old bass player one time that said, we kind of had this discussion. It's like that. And he said, there was an instrumental that was so massive that they had to pull it from radio because it was like making people get aggressive. Yeah, you hit on the head. There's a documentary about
it. Yeah, you're right. It's Wray was born May 2nd, 1929, to Fred Lincoln Wray Sr. and Lillian May Nee Coates, whom her son identified as being of Shawnee descent.
Yes, Native American. Shawnee.
Wray recalled living in very harsh conditions during childhood in mud huts without electricity or heating, going to school barefoot, barely clothed.
And that's where, with Trump's office, that's where we're headed now. So see how it all goes back.
It all comes right back. Yeah, dude. God damn. I mean, wow. Okay, so yeah, it's so wild that, so Rumble is one of those songs. It's like the one song that had to get pulled because people thought like it's going to result in gang fights and shit because it's just so heavy and so intense.
Yeah, like Rage Against the Machine for these people back then. Had this thing. And I don't know, I mean, and I love Rage Against the Machine, man, and all that kind of stuff. And I've witnessed some of I got it's a long story, but I got to hang out and really see how these guys moved air, mostly through Audioslave. I guess I'll tell the story real quick. I was in a rehearsal studio with, it was Red Hot Chili Peppers, Audioslave, and System of a Down that Rick Rubin was doing via satellite on System of a Down. But so the parking lot was nuts, man. I mean, you'd pull into the parking lot and it was just like everybody hanging out, Chris Cornell and Flea, and everybody, and Tom Morello. And they said, hey, man, we're going to do a surprise gig on Hollywood Boulevard if you guys want to, come down. And we're like, yeah, man, we'll come down. So we had our passes and all that kind of stuff. But I like when the band starts playing, I like going out front and hearing from the front. So I go all the way to the back and they're playing on Hollywood Boulevard. And I don't know, this like business guy comes up, in khakis and the whole thing and stuff like that. And he goes, well, who's this or what's going on? I said, well, this is Audioslave. It's Soundgarden and Rage Against the Machine. I was like talking Japanese to the guy. He didn't know anything. This, and I will never forget this. At the end of the show, they did Spoon Man, which Rage was pretty good at, and they were okay, but it wasn't Soundgarden. But fuck, they went into, I think, Bulls on Parade. And as soon as those three guys, the fourth would be Chris Cornell, but those three guys started laying that down, the air changed. And this dude in khaki pants I could start seeing the hair starting to grow on this dude's. He just was like, oh, yeah, man. I thought this guy was going to start picking up trash cans and throwing it around.
Hell yeah, dude.
Is magic that I have rarely ever seen, if I've ever seen, that I started seeing people that did not even know that band. But when Tom started whipping out them riffs, man, and they started going like Rage Against the Machine. I mean, their bangs and just it started going. And I don't even know what the hell the question was or how we got on that, but that was a moment of what music can do. Yeah, what music can do. And apparently that song we're talking about, that dude did. Like, these kids and people in general would hear this riff. It was so radical and it had so much angst or something that it transformed, it moved the air. That's all I can tell you, is the air changed. The air changed. And that. So anyways, great documentary, great tune. And that's, I don't know, again, I don't know how the hell we got on it, but there you go.
That's kind of the beauty of this, is that we can talk about whatever we want.
Whatever we want. Hey, out there, the reason I'm doing this now is because I was the bonehead that lost the battery on the phone during the interview. So yes, it's all guerrilla style now.
It's cool, man. Like, yeah, guerrilla radio, can I say?
Yeah.
There you go. I'm gonna wrap things up because I don't want to like get all your best stories. I'm sure that you have like about a bajillion more, but I also am aware that like
I got a book coming out, so you're gonna get it in the book.
Yes. And that's the thing, is like, you've got so many cool things coming down the pipeline. Let's just like try to really quickly, because I feel like we're going to lose ourselves in just trying to like wrap up with like where people can catch you, where people can listen. So you've already released 3 singles so far from your upcoming full-length album, the most recent of which is Heavy Head, which is the eponymous track for the full album, which is also going to be Heavy Head. And that, man, you mentioned Gilmore and Waters earlier. I mean, shit, I heard it the second that song started. That has been like rattling around over and over in my brain. So if you want to have an earworm, go ahead and listen to Heavy Head by Little Bihlman, now streaming everywhere, the universe. And you are working on a book, and we are working on a book.
Yeah, we're working on a book. I mean, we're just doing the tweaks now, and
yeah, man,
all those stories are in there. Yeah.
And more, lots more. And you've got many more singles to come, and it's going to be a fun year ahead, man. You should follow Little on all of his socials. He's got them all.
Yeah. I try to be hip. And I would like to say, working with V13 and you guys have just been an absolute pleasure, man. You guys are great people, and I'm very grateful for what y'all do. So you guys
appreciate that.
Are tight, good Canadians, and you know what it's all about.
I don't know what you're talking about. I actually literally do that now. My wife gets so annoyed. Oh man. This is a rare moment where I'm actually going to accept the compliment but return it right back at you, man. Like, we wouldn't be working with people that we didn't believe in. So I'm really pumped about what's going to happen in the upcoming days, but really, honestly, just getting to do it is the action is the juice, So
yeah, man.
This has been great. So thank you so much for sharing your time and wisdom and, a couple sweet moments in time with us. It's been incredible hearing the stories behind your journey and the lessons that have kept you grounded,
Ah, thanks.
So,
Well, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. I'm sure that we'll do it again real soon.
Sounds
I'm
great.
Lance. This is Little, and this has been Make Break, where we explore what it really takes to build a life of music.
Peace, man. Right on.